The Ravens are desperate, and for once, John Harbaugh seems to know it. After weeks of vague answers and cryptic injury updates, the head coach finally gave fans something to hang on to. A glimmer of hope that Keaton Mitchell might actually suit up and see the field this week. And at this point, that tiny spark might be exactly what Baltimore needs, not just for the scoreboard, but for the soul of this team. Because let's be honest here, the vibes in Baltimore are awful right now. 1 win and 3 losses, a mountain of injuries, questionable coaching decisions, and a growing sense of disconnection between what this roster can do and what it's actually being allowed to do. Former players are speaking out. Fans are fed up. Even the most loyal voices around the team are starting to admit the obvious. This Ravens team, as it's currently operating, is beating itself. And the numbers prove it. There's been this narrative that Baltimore is a ground-and-pound team, a physical team, a team that controls games by controlling the clock. And on paper, they are. When they run the ball, they dominate. But that's the catch. They're just not doing it. Even with Derrick Henry in the backfield, the Ravens rank dead last in the league in handing the ball to their running backs on 1st and 2nd down. That's not just surprising. That's football malpractice. Because when they do run the ball on early downs, they average 6 yards per carry, 2nd best in the NFL. These aren't empty stats. They're a crystal clear message to the coaching staff. You have a weapon, and you're not using it. And it's not just the missed opportunities on early downs. They're skipping the run in short yardage situations. They're passing in goal-to-go moments. They're ignoring the obvious identity that this offense was built on. And the result has been confusion, inconsistency, and a team that feels more out of sync with each passing week. The frustration has even spilled over into the coaching dynamic. John Harbaugh publicly called out some of the questionable personnel decisions being made, particularly around Todd Monken's offensive usage. And while Monken didn't seem blindsided by the comments, the fact that it needed to be addressed at all says a lot. These are not conversations you want to be having publicly in Week 5 of the season. And that's what makes the Keaton Mitchell update so significant. Not because Mitchell is some miracle fix, but because it finally signals that the Ravens might actually try something different, something smart. Harbaugh didn't shut the door. He didn't hide behind roster math or inactive lists. He said there's a chance Mitchell plays. And honestly, even a chance is better than what we've heard the last 4 weeks. Because Mitchell brings juice. He brings explosiveness. He brings something this team has been sorely lacking: unpredictability. You can't be one-dimensional in this league. You can't telegraph your play calling every week and expect defenses to just roll over. Mitchell changes that. He opens things up not only for himself, but for Derrick Henry too. Imagine trying to prepare for both of them at the same time. 2 totally different styles, 2 totally different problems for a defense. It's something fans have been begging for since the preseason. And yet, here we are, nearly a month in, still waiting. The wild part? Mitchell didn't struggle in the preseason. He wasn't an unknown quantity. He made plays. He turned heads. He looked ready. So to have him buried on the depth chart for 4 straight weeks has been nothing short of confusing, especially when the run game is clearly this team's best weapon, and they've barely even tapped into it. It's like they're trying to play chess when all they really need is to run straight through the wall. And that gets us to Derrick Henry, because honestly, if Lamar Jackson isn't playing this week, and all signs point to that being the case, you have to lean on the run game. You have to control time of possession. You have to take pressure off your backup quarterback. And you do that by giving the ball to the most punishing runner in the league. Let's not forget, Derrick Henry loves playing the Texans. Over his career, he's averaged more than 100 yards per game and has scored 13 touchdowns in 15 games against them. This is the exact kind of matchup where you feed the beast. Get him rolling early. Keep the defense honest. And then, maybe, just maybe, you can open up some play-action looks for your quarterback, whether that's Cooper Rush or anyone else behind center. But if you try to get fancy, if you try to turn this into a quarterback duel with a backup at the helm, you're going to lose. Simple as that. Now, let's address the elephant in the room: Lamar Jackson's injury. It's a hamstring issue, and the timeline has been shifting every few days. First, it was maybe just 1 game. Then it became 2. Now, some reports are hinting that the Ravens might hold him out through the bye week just to be safe. And that makes sense. You don't want to risk aggravating it and losing him for the rest of the year. But that also means these next 2 games could define the entire season. If Baltimore drops both games and heads into the bye at 1-5, the math for a playoff run gets real tough. It's not impossible, but you'd be asking a lot from a team that's already this banged up and this inconsistent. And the injuries? Don't even get started. At one point this week, 22 players were listed on the injury report. That's over a quarter of the roster. The team looks like a CVS receipt, just name after name, status after status, day after day. Big names too. Kyle Hamilton, Roquan Smith, Ronnie Stanley, Marlon Humphrey, Lamar Jackson. The spine of your team, all dealing with something. It's gotten so bad that fans are openly talking about muting the injury report on social media. Not even joking. Just a full block. Save yourself the heartbreak. And honestly, who can blame them? But the season isn't over. Not yet. The schedule softens up after the bye. There's no Chiefs, no Bills, no Niners lurking around the corner. If the Ravens can just survive these next 2 weeks, get healthy, find some rhythm, rediscover who they are, then maybe, just maybe, they can still make a run. But it starts with a decision. A choice to do what works. A commitment to playing your game, not someone else's version of what you think you should be. That means handing the ball off. That means leaning on Derrick Henry. That means giving Keaton Mitchell a real role in this offense. And that means trusting the identity that's gotten you this far. The biggest concern right now for the Ravens isn't just their record or even the lack of rhythm on offense. It's the sheer volume of injuries that continues to gut the team week after week. It feels like every single time you check the injury report, another key name has popped up. And the worst part? There's no clear sign that things are slowing down. It's like a never-ending wave crashing over a roster that was supposed to be built for a deep postseason run. When you look at how many contributors are either sidelined or playing at less than 100%, it's not just frustrating, it's debilitating. Kyle Hamilton, who's arguably the most dynamic piece in the Ravens secondary, started the week limited in practice, then didn't practice at all the next day. That kind of regression is never a good sign. Add to that Marlon Humphrey still battling to get back to full form, Roquan Smith dealing with lingering soreness, and Ronnie Stanley trying to gut through an ankle injury that's clearly holding him back, and you start to wonder how this team is even functioning. And of course, the biggest domino is Lamar Jackson. Without him, the offense loses its identity. His absence turns the Ravens into a different team entirely, one that has to rely on timing, rhythm, and execution instead of the kind of improvisational magic Lamar brings every time he steps on the field. There's nothing definitive yet, but all signs point to him missing at least this week's game against the Texans, and likely the next one against the Rams as well. After that comes the bye week, and the hope is that he'll be ready to go on the other side. But the question becomes, will there still be something to play for by then? This is where the coaching staff has to step up, big time. John Harbaugh's demeanor lately has told the whole story. You can see the tension on his face, hear it in his voice. This is a man who knows he's running out of excuses. The patience is wearing thin. And when you start making comments about needing to do better with personnel usage, you're not just pointing at Todd Monken. You're also admitting that something deeper is off. There's a disconnect. A breakdown in identity, in vision, in execution. That's what separates good teams from great ones. And right now, Baltimore is stuck somewhere in the middle. If there's any positive to pull from this mess, it's that the schedule ahead isn't exactly brutal. After the Texans and Rams, the Ravens get a string of winnable games. Bears, Vikings, Browns, Patriots, teams that, on paper, you should beat even with some of your key players out. The problem is, this team hasn't shown they can take care of business against should-win opponents. In fact, those are the games where they've looked the worst. That's where focus becomes everything. That's where leadership has to shine. You don't need a flashy playbook when you're down to your backup quarterback and half your starters are nursing injuries. You need fundamentals. You need discipline. You need to do the things that work and do them until someone stops you. If that means giving Derrick Henry 25 carries, so be it. If that means grinding out a 12-play, 70-yard drive that chews up 8 minutes of clock, then that's the way. Because if you're not controlling time of possession, if you're not winning at the line of scrimmage, then you're losing before the ball is even snapped. That's how this team was built, to bully opponents in the trenches, wear them down, and impose their will. But lately, they've abandoned that identity, and it's costing them. Now look, Cooper Rush isn't Lamar Jackson. Everyone knows that. But he's not supposed to be. He's supposed to be steady. He's supposed to be efficient. He's supposed to be a game manager in the truest sense of the word, and there's no shame in that. Game managers win games all the time when the rest of the team around them is doing its job. Rush doesn't need to throw for 300 yards or scramble for touchdowns. He just needs to protect the football, hit the throws when they're there, and lean into the support system around him. That support system starts with the run game, but it also includes players like Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Justice Hill, and Mark Andrews. These guys are healthy. These guys are ready. And this offense still has enough juice to be dangerous, if it's used the right way. The question is whether the coaches will lean into the strengths of this roster or keep trying to force something that isn't there. Because if they keep trying to get cute, to outthink the room, they're going to end up out of playoff contention before December even gets here. And defensively, it's time for the pass rush to step up in a big way. CJ Stroud has had moments, but he's still prone to rookie mistakes, especially when pressured. The Texans' offensive line is one of the worst in football right now. This is not the week to be quiet up front. This is the week to bring the heat. If there was ever a time for guys like Kyle Van Noy, Jadeveon Clowney, or even a banged-up Odafe Oweh to show up and make an impact, it's right now. The Ravens' defense hasn't forced a single turnover outside of the Browns' game. That's a problem. This is a defense that was once feared for its physicality and aggression. Right now, they look hesitant, passive, even soft at times. And that's not who they need to be. The defense can't afford to just bend and not break. Not with Lamar out. Not with a backup QB. Not with half the offense trying to find its footing. They need to create momentum. Takeaways, sacks, field position flips. Those are the things that will win this game for Baltimore, not finesse or flash. And it all circles back to mentality. What kind of team do the Ravens want to be? Do they want to be the group that folds under pressure, shrugs its shoulders at injuries, and lets the season slip away? Or do they want to be the team that digs in, gets gritty, and finds a way to win ugly when it matters most? Because this is an ugly part of the season. There's no sugarcoating it. The health situation is brutal. The confidence is shaky. The coaching questions are louder than they've been in years. But there's still a path out. There's still time to fix this. It won't be flashy. It won't be fun. But if the Ravens want to keep their season alive, it's going to require something they haven't shown enough of so far. Toughness. Mental toughness. Situational awareness. A willingness to simplify and trust what works. That starts on Sunday. The Texans aren't unbeatable. But if the Ravens play like they've been playing, if they continue ignoring the run, missing tackles, and letting pressure get to them mentally, it won't matter who's on the schedule. It'll be a long, disappointing season that ends before it ever really began. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. The NFL rumor mill is spinning faster than ever after shocking whispers surfaced about Terry McLaurin's surprising career move. Sources close to the situation suggest that the star wide receiver has officially parted ways with the Washington Commanders and is rumored to have inked a deal with the Baltimore Ravens, sending shockwaves through the league. While neither team has made an official announcement, insiders claim that the deal could signal a dramatic shift in the AFC landscape, and fans on both sides are already buzzing with speculation. McLaurin, known for his explosive speed and uncanny ability to create separation, has long been the face of Washington's receiving corps. Yet, tensions behind the scenes, some say disagreements over contract negotiations and the team's direction, may have paved the way for this unexpected move. The whispers hint that the Ravens, fresh off a season of offensive recalibration, saw an opportunity to add a true game-changer to their arsenal. McLaurin's potential pairing with Lamar Jackson could be a nightmare for opposing defenses, blending precision route running with Jackson's improvisational wizardry. Sports analysts are already debating the implications. Could McLaurin's departure leave Washington scrambling to fill a massive void, or might this be the spark Baltimore needs to contend more seriously for the AFC crown? Social media is ablaze with reactions. Some fans mourning the loss of a hometown hero, others celebrating the potential rise of a Ravens super offense. The rumor also fuels questions about the locker room dynamic in Baltimore. How will McLaurin fit into a team with established stars and a coaching staff known for a disciplined, run-first approach? The gossip suggests that McLaurin is eager to prove himself in a new environment, and sources say the Ravens were more than willing to give him that stage. While the ink is reportedly not yet dry, the mere possibility of this switch has already dominated headlines and heated debates. If the whispers hold true, the NFL could be staring down one of the most significant mid-off-season shakeups in recent memory. For now, fans, pundits, and rivals alike are left to wonder. Is this the beginning of a new dynasty in Baltimore, or a fleeting rumor that will fizzle out before the next kickoff? Either way, the chatter surrounding Terry McLaurin's potential leap from Washington to Baltimore is impossible to ignore, and it's shaping up to be the off-season's hottest topic. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.